During the time that he was away, I was very, very lonely, as I didn't make friends very easily. And all the thoughts I had was for my husband. And times was very, very hard, and I only had 12 and 6 a week, and therefore I couldn't go out and spend like anyone else. And I used to sit at night and try to do a bit of reading or a bit of sewing with my hands to pass the time away like that. But it was very, very hard, and my times would wonder what he was doing, or if he was thinking about me, and wondering how he was going on, when I should see him again, and all things like that. Well, Mother had gone to the jam factory, and she'd left me in bed, because I was getting on then, you see, and she'd left me in bed when I heard the postman come, and I knew that it would be a letter for me. So I ran down in my nightdress and opened the door and snatched the letter off the postman and run in, shut the door, in my nightdress and my bare feet. And I opened the letter, and it was from this sergeant, and it just said, "Dear Mrs. Morter, I'm very sorry to tell you of the death of your husband." Well, that was as far as I could read, you see. I couldn't read anything else. So I didn't know just for a few minutes what happened, but I ran out of the house as I was, with bare feet, and I banged on the next door neighbour, and it was a Mr. and Mrs. Hurst, and they let me in, and whatever's to do, she said. And I said, "Will you read this letter? Mrs. Hurst, read this letter." And she said, "Oh," she says, "you're a poor child." And, of course, I don't know really what happened then, but they brought some blankets and locked me up in them. And they eventually sent word to my mother at the works, and she came home. My mother came home, and they treated me for shock. I had a real shock. But this was only from his sergeant. So I thought, well, perhaps it's just an error. I wasn't sure what had happened. I thought it's perhaps just an error. But later on, I wrote to the sergeant. I wrote and answered his letter, and I found out later on I had another letter to say that the man that had sent me word had also been killed. And then later on I had the official news.